Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Disney Renaissance Mania. It is I, Captain Logan, and as always, we've got Austin the Day Ghost
We're back.
and Robert Wild. A wild Robert Wild has returned, and we're gonna watch and talk about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Austin and I just did one tonight on Pocahontas, and so if you're watching this after the fact, we're doing this real late at night, and we're gonna do our best to be fun and interesting and engaging. We've got Robert here because he really likes this movie and he knows things about it and remembers it. And this is a movie that I saw a weird number of times as a kid to have like no hardly any recollection of it now. It's very strange. Like it's just not really stuck with me. It's one of those movies that like my parents were obsessed with for some reason. My parents, my mom, my stepdad.
Yeah, it's a movie I definitely saw several times as a kid. It's not one of those movies where it's like the whole thing stuck with me, but it's a movie where very specific sequences and moments stuck with it. So like I went a lot of years without revisiting this movie. When I finally did, there's a lot of stuff coming back to me a few years ago whenever I watched it. So yeah, I like this one a lot. It's definitely got problems. I'd say it's more of a mixed bag than I'd say I love it. But like Austin was saying earlier, there's interesting stuff in it, good and bad. It's a weird movie for Disney, and that is part of what's interesting about it. But a lot of big swings it takes, I really respect.
Well, as I said earlier, the big thing it has in common with Pocahontas, and it's kind of appropriate that we're doing both of them tonight, is they were just both really strange left field choices.
Well, they're very much of a pair in that they were like the Disney Oscar bait movies, trying to go for something more adult and mature and epic. And in the case of Pocahontas, something historical, and here more, well revered epic literature. Um, because this is kind of a rhetorical question, but it's like, okay, so Disney's brand is like all these short stories and fairy tales, and then Disneyifying them. And why are we cool with that, but not Hunchback? Like, why is Hunchback divisive?
Hmm.
And I think there's a number of reasons for that. One of
Yeah.
which being that it is such a long, mature book. Because I saw somebody in the live chat earlier say, like, oh, Disney doing this is weird. To be like Disney doing Frankenstein or Dracula or Phantom of the Opera. It's more on that caliber than a typical fairy tale, which is what makes it part of what makes it such an odd choice.
Well, you said it was rhetorical, which is why I didn't answer the question. But
Sure.
but I will say now that you're talking about the question, I think part of the reason that people respond to it differently in the same way, like with Pocahontas, people respond to that because it's based on to some degree like real actual historical events, is because the audiences are for the initial material are different. So arguably pretty much everything Disney made before Pocahontas, or at least most of it, whatever the original material was aimed at the same age group that the movies were.
Yeah.
At least most of it. Like Jungle Book, like that's aimed more at children than like Alice in Wonderland aimed more at children. I guess interestingly, the earlier movie this has most in common as far as source material is maybe Robin Hood? Question mark, because that's not really like a children's novel, but it's also not as dark as this subject matter.
Sure.
Like
Yeah, it's adventure
overall.
before it's horror.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
like
like
would have still appealed to at least older children. Sorry, Robert, what were you gonna say?
well, and after this, they do stuff like Tarzan, which is in a similar league as that,
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
But this like
and Treasure Planet.
we're talking gothic horror. Just would not be on a kid's
Mm.
radar at all. And so I think just the perception of audience, I think, is part of the reason that it's scrutinized differently. I, don't you think? And some of it like
Yeah,
is with a lot of the fairy tales. you start from a real similar place as the fairy tale, and then you have to come up with a real like happy positive ending. And in this case, you have to change a lot of things all the way through it.
Yes, although I think some of the comparisons to the book are a little unwarranted, or at least the expectations aren't fair. I'll talk about this a lot more in depth, like during the commentary. But this is most certainly borrowing more from previous movie adaptations than it is looking at the book itself. And there's definitely a miscommunication going on, like to the audience, because the audience isn't thinking that; they're just thinking of the book, which I
Okay.
think is interesting.
Angel Castaneda just brought up a good point too, which is the closest is probably the Sleepy Hollow segment of The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. But obviously that's like a much smaller source material. But just going to like some sort of gothic horror material.
Yeah. Like I think this particular movie is scrutinized differently. Again, like Pocahontas, because it's so unique in the choice. And so like if they were looking at movies more than than the original source material, people aren't going to pick up on that because those aren't like real talked about and well regarded. Like most people don't even know that there were Hunchback movies.
Well, there's a couple of pretty iconic ones, but like that's not the Disney audience.
Well, I
Like
know, but
those
I
it's
didn't.
a very
I
different thing.
personally didn't grow up hearing about them, and I imagine even like in the mid '90s, there were probably lots of people that knew about the Gothic book that had either never seen the movies or didn't know there were any. It's not like a Dracula or something. Like maybe iconic in film circles, but I don't know. Like I didn't know that that was a thing at this point.
I mean, the Lon Chaney silent one's a big one, but like you said,
Okay, I mean fair enough.
it depends on the circles you're in, certainly.
Yeah, and just like how I'm not sure how widely accessible it is, but or like was then.
We'll go ahead and get into the movie here, but I think this is one of those cases too, Robert, where there's a word of mouth thing that happens. And so, like, people think this is a weird choice, and they see the movie, and they're like, I don't know, this seems like really dark material for Disney. And then they start hearing people that are familiar with the book going, well, here's how insanely messed up the ending was. And then that gets around. And so a lot of the people that you've heard talk about how different it is from the book have never read that book.
They're just
Yeah, I think
parroting
that's
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parroting that's happening.
We
I mean,
did
I
miss an
haven't read the book.
opportunity, though. If this did well, we could have had more, and we could have had Dracula's "I Want More" song in a Disney film. I just want to throw that out there.
That would have been great. But yeah, Robert, I'm glad that you suggested that this was maybe another Oscar bait type movie, because I hadn't thought about that. But I looked this up right before the show because I was curious about the turnaround, because we talked about how Pocahontas had such a real fast turnaround, and this did also. This was conceptualized in like '93 and came out in '96. So not as fast as Pocahontas, but still for Disney relatively quick. Because a lot of the stuff before this, I mean, most of the movies in the Renaissance were like in the pipeline for years before they finally got produced. And
But it
these
probably
got
helps too
rushed.
that before the Renaissance, it wasn't annual releases, and they've moved to annual releases.
Hmm.
So like eventually that well's gonna dry up. Like we're already several films in, so now like you're gonna have more that are just kind of like, okay, we got to get that next one out.
Apparently, the team that worked on this was in the middle of conceptualizing a like Greek mythology movie that would have been based on, I forget which story. I got to go back and look at it. Um, and when this was conceptualized, they were forced to drop everything and just work on this. But
Yeah,
we
that tracks.
but we could have had. Oh yeah, it was supposed to be based on the myth of Orpheus and was going to be called the Song of the Sea. And if that had been made, you would have had a Greek mythology Disney movie before you had Hercules, and then likely you wouldn't have had Hercules. And so I wonder if that project didn't kind of morph into Hercules.
Yeah, possibly.
Anyway, Angel Castaneda, before we start, how ironic was it that the cathedral was caught on fire like the events of the movie. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Thankfully, it's still standing. Yeah, I mean that happened. God, like 7 or 8 years ago
I didn't know
now.
about
But
that.
like there was a big fire
Really?
at
Yeah.
Notre
Well,
Dame. Yeah.
so I had like just a shirt that just said Notre Dame, and I got home from work that day. I was still living with my mom at the time, and I come downstairs and I'm wearing that shirt, and she's like, "Is that a joke?" And I'm like, "What do you
Oh
mean?"
no!
Like, it's on fire right now, and I'm like, "Oh my god, really?"
Somehow I missed that. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
It was a big
No, she
deal.
thought that I heard the news and was like, "I'm gonna crack this one out."
Austin, I thought where you're going from that was JonTron posted a video like that day or the day before where he does a sketch as Quasimodo.
No,
and
I didn't remember that.
people were quickly making memes of that. It
No, I didn't remember that. That's funny.
was weird timing.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the movie, and then we'll keep talking. Everybody get the timestamp 0, DVD, Blu-ray, Disney Plus, however you're going to watch it, and get ready to press play whenever I say now. Austin, this one is maybe the longest of these so far. It's like 10 minutes longer than the last one. So it still doesn't get anywhere close to 2 hours. Pocahontas was 124. This one is 137.
Yeah, it's no Fantasia.
Fantasia was 3 hours. We'll do if we ever do Fantasia, we'll do it in 2 nights.
Fantasia Part 1.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Everybody get to timestamp 1 hour 31 minutes.
In 16 seconds.
All right, everybody, please press play right now. I was wondering if this would also do the Pocahontas thing, where you have something else playing under the Disney logo. And I'm wondering if we're even gonna get the Disney logo. Oh no, we do.
Yeah, I was worried that my Disney Plus was glitching.
Yeah, no, it's black for like 5 seconds. So Pocahontas and Hunchback have some interesting things in common. They're the first 2 movies that do that.
Well,
These are real classic logos.
Yes,
it's neat.
Credits.
It feels like Sleeping Beauty or something. Immediately, it feels very classy and old school.
Oh my god, this is immediately taking me back. Like, I haven't thought about this movie in so long. This music, it's like in my soul. I just haven't heard it for. Holy crap! This is a weird
It's
feeling
taking
I'm
you
having.
back to the past, Gav.
It is. But I love how it grabs you like Beauty and the Beast does. Just right out the gate, it's like real bombastic.
Well, I'm going to be comparing this to Prince of Egypt a lot during this, and that'll come out just a few years later and be from DreamWorks, also from Katzenberg. But I feel like some of the pitfalls this falls into, Prince of Egypt will avoid. But they both have very similar openings with how operatic like this opening number is. And I mean, even you're gonna see in a minute, like it's a woman running for her life, trying to save her child. They're very similar openings, and they're very heavy.
And I love just the going through the clouds at the beginning with the tower spires, above them. This is a beautiful way to open.
I do think it was a really bold choice to do an entire Disney movie that takes place at a Renaissance festival.
This is we're opening like Aladdin, which is why Robert wanted to do both.
That's true.
That's true. Except this guy's not going to be someone else in disguise that we're never going to know about. So, Robert, I want to praise this movie for not shying away from the religious stuff, but then I don't know how the hell you do this story at all.
Right.
Yeah, you can't really.
I mean, they certainly downplay it, but it's there.
But they lean into it from the start, which I do appreciate. Like,
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be Disneyified, but like, they're at least going there.
Well, but your main villain's thing is he thinks he's on the side of God, and they don't shy away from that language, and I appreciate that. And then just this is all choral music, and I grew up in the Lutheran Church, which is obviously kind of an offshoot of the Catholic Church, and so this kind of music hits me where I live. I was real immersed in this kind of stuff growing up.
Well, that's why you're such a big fan of Lex.
I don't even understand that.
Lex Luthor.
Oh, because he's a Luther. Yeah, I said Luther. I forgot I even brought up Lutheranism. Yeah. That's Luthor, not Luther. Okay, really cool. They're different.
This, like I said, this part in particular really reminds me of Prince of Egypt, and the fact that they actually show her die. That's immediately pretty surprising that this doesn't even happen off screen.
That's maybe part of the reason that this has a reputation for being so much darker than their other movies, because it hits you with that in the first 2 minutes.
Well, now he wants to drown this baby in a well.
Yeah.
Yeah, why am I having Batman Returns flashbacks right now?
I was thinking that too.
Well, you have a baby that's about to be discarded in water, and there's snow on the ground.
And it's deformed.
And what now?
And it's deformed.
And it's deformed, and you have real bombastic choral music in the background.
It didn't eat his cat, though.
That's true. As far as you know.
You didn't expect a better remake of Batman Returns in animation 4 years after Batman Returns, okay? Chewbacca's Lover, was the movie rated G? I'm gonna look that up. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't get a PG.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the first PG Disney film is.
It would be really funny if this got G and Home on the Range got PG.
No. Home on the Range should have gotten like NC-17.
That is true.
It's horrifying.
It is G.
Yeah, I don't remember which one the first is PG, but somewhere in the early 2000s they shifted PG. I just don't remember which one it was.
Let's see, I can find that out.
But there's a Reddit post that calls it the most R-rated G you'll ever see.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. There's a Dracula film that's rated G.
Planet of the Apes is rated G, I think.
That's true too, yeah, and you get male ass in that movie.
So this angle is immediately very Beauty and the Beast with the who's the monster, who's the man question.
Of course.
That's a take that this version's really going to lean into.
Oh, the first is the Black Cauldron, so it's before this.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Is that real different from other versions, or do the couple of movies also kind of go in more of that Frankenstein direction?
Like it's certainly present there. I'd say definitely in the 30s one. Which this one's looking at the most. I love this sequence. I love how like he's in shadow, he's a silhouette. Like some of this looks really epic. Like I like the build up here.
No, I'm loving this so far. This has been really nice.
There's a gigantic step up in animation quality from Pocahontas, and I appreciated a lot of what that movie looks like, but compared to this, it looks kind of flat.
When everyone was talking about how hot Pocahontas is, but like immediately we have a protagonist that's even hotter. We're already, blowing past that.
Wow, that's a hot take that Quasimodo is your favorite Disney princess.
He is. Look how hot he is with his like eye thing, his big brow.
Everybody just remember that this is coming from the world's greatest fan of the Toxic Avenger, okay? Just keep that in mind.
Toxic Avenger it shares thematic similarities with Hunchback.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And then we have the talking gargoyles.
Well,
who I hate.
We got to them.
Oh, God. I'm going to say this movie has tone problems.
Yeah.
So
some of these
that's part of the Disney thing is you got to have this to allow them to push darker.
But some of them do a much better job of balancing that where it doesn't feel tonally uneven. So like somehow it works in Lion King, even if I'm not the biggest fan of Timon and Pumbaa, in a way it doesn't here.
Well, and when people talk about all of the genie knockoffs that Disney does, I think like this is the poster child of that, and the worst, probably the worst example of that. Of
Yeah.
it's famous comedians doing silly voices, making pop
Yeah.
culture
One
references,
also
and
feels
it's
like
really inappropriate.
overcompensation because it happens immediately after a really horrible dark thing with the background of the opening. It's like you said,
Yes.
we see someone die on screen and a baby thrown in a well, and then immediately it's like we've got to liven it up for the children, and we need happy,
Yeah.
fun character, and it just feels forced because like is there anything else besides these gargoyles that are really supernatural in this movie? Like, did you need a supernatural component at all?
No, and what's funny is like the Romani, the gypsies are a big part of this, and we talk about like witchcraft and stuff, but like that stuff's downplayed, which I think is fine. That's accurate to the story. Like they don't have actual magic, but it's a Disney movie, so I mean you could go there if you wanted
Well,
to.
I almost don't want them at all to, just because the idea
I
is
prefer
supposed
that.
to be that we're like making up witchcraft in order to unfairly
Yeah.
go after someone. It's the Salem
Mhm.
thing. So to have any at all is a little bit of an odd choice. And like if you have to do this kind of thing, do it with talking animals or something. I mean, I don't love that with this material, but like it's very strange to do it with gargoyles, and it's also partly strange and a bad idea because this is during the heyday of the Disney television show Gargoyles, which is very dark for them for a TV show. And I remember I was kind of thinking about that and comparing it when this came. When I'm like, of all things, you're gonna go to like at 12 years old, I was going, you're gonna go to Gargoyles while Gargoyles is on. Like, what a strange choice.
I mean, okay,
I'm
to
gonna
be fair,
disagree. I think
it is.
Gargoyles is the right choice to go to, just because it's like it's playing into the gothic thing, and he's also a monster, and they're more monstrous, but not to him because he's also not really that. Like I do think all that makes sense.
It's not.
I
It's
get
Notre
it
Dame. It
thematically.
has a
It
lot of
still feels a
gargoyles.
little
Yeah, it has a lot of
forced
gargoyles.
story wise.
People have mentioned this in the chat too, and this has always been like a big thing with this as well. Is it would work better if they weren't actually alive, but we kind of ruined that in the third act. And
That's
if it
what I
was
was.
just yeah,
That's what I was going to ask you because I couldn't remember the third act. If it was all in his mind, it's perfect.
Mhm.
Yes.
yeah, because then
If
you
it's just
got somebody to talk to.
And
well, and also
this scene is sort of suggesting to the audience that they're not real. It will be a surprise to us when they are.
yeah, yeah, that's not handled well at all. But if it is just he's just talking to them and it's all in his head, that's fine. But the two problems with it is that still doesn't explain the modern pop culture references, so that still doesn't work. And then, like we said, you'll later see them interact with other characters, and nope, they're definitely alive, and it doesn't
Mhm.
work.
Yeah,
But I do really like how we do Frollo and Quasimodo's relationship in this. It's like a gender flip of like the wicked stepmother trope, where now we have like an evil stepfather uh, situation. I think that's cool.
To the point,
Mhm.
Robert, where we are looking at her character model in his face. Go back and look at it.
Yes.
yeah.
Looks just like her, but a male version. Like the lips are exactly the same.
Oh, absolutely. They would be the ultimate power couple if they got together.
Angel Castaneda, I wish you'd see this with your kids' caps so they can hear eternal damnation. Well, I'm gonna teach the youngest ones. I I'm hesitating because they all know their ABCs by now. But I was gonna say I'm gonna teach them their ABCs the way he does. E stands for eternal damnation.
H stands for hellfire.
This is also a
Yeah,
villain that gets to sing a lot.
Yeah.
yes. And if anything is remembered about this movie, it's Frollo.
Yeah, of course.
He is often ranked highly as a great Disney villain. It's definitely one of my favorites.
No, I mean Tony J is great in this role.
His voice is so good.
Yeah.
It's cool that he finally got to be the main villain in something like this, like something this high profile. Because I mean, he was in a lot of stuff. He had a big career, but I feel like for animation, for the longest time, he was kind of an unsung hero. He's kind of relegated to a lot of stuff that he had small enough roles in, or were small enough projects that he didn't get talked about as much as he should have. So like he's Chairface Chippendale. That's a huge villain and one of my favorite things that nobody knows.
He's Baron Mordo.
Yeah, like Spider-Man was a big show, but it was a small character in a two-parter. Vispig says this movie has one of the great Disney I Want songs, but also interesting that he's singing it in the same song with the bad guy. Like, that's unusual.
Yeah, I like that part of it when it ramps up. I think it's kind of fine. Like, it's whatever. It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah, this one didn't stick with me as hard.
Yeah, when it's out there, when it really kicks in, I think it's fine. And this is the one, before Austin asks, that gets the cover for the end credits. Because of course it does. But it's like there's better songs in this movie. But I also get why you're not going to do Hellfire in the credits, even if it's what I want.
Now, could you imagine the pop version of Hellfire? Like, who do you get for that? Like, Michael Bolton's Hellfire?
Yes. But like, so I love, like, this is really going for a big epic scale, and just all the coverage we get of Notre Dame is really cool. How it's drawn and animated,
and how detailed the cathedral is. I mean, all the buildings, but especially the cathedral. It looks like it must have taken them 10 years to make it, and we know they only did it in 3, and that's including concept and pre-production. That's ridiculous. All the trailers were built on that shot. That's like the superhero Spider-Man shot.
How this movie animates lighting is really cool. There's so many gorgeous sunset shots. But Cap, it also helps that this cathedral is a real thing that exists, so like we don't have to design it.
No, that's true, but it just looks like it would take forever to draw it, though.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm with you there, but look how many lines there are. I mean, it's just nuts. And then, yeah.
Can I rant about the box for a second?
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at this in a while. So this is the VHS tape. Okay, so it's the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I see the Hunchback. You know it's not featured prominently on the box?
It's in like the little corner.
Part. Yeah, it's like you see a little bit of it.
They look like they're jumping in like a ritualistic suicide.
In their defense, and I'm nitpicking, but it's not called the Hunchback in Notre Dame, okay? He's of it. So, like, I realize that the whole movie takes place in it, but the title says of, okay?
This movie took good posters. This is not one of their best efforts.
No, I'm with you. That's weird. Why is it just the yellow sky?
It's like 70% sky is this cover.
You've got this amazing castle. I'm pretty sure Beauty and the Beast had the castle in the background.
What is this, Village of the Sun? Put the damn Notre Dame on the poster.
But to what I was saying about the building, there's that opening shot, or not the opening shot, but pretty early, there's a shot that's like almost photorealistic. It's like preposterous how real it looks.
Oh, and Austin, one of these guys is voiced by Patrick from SpongeBob, and it's so distracting. It's very weird.
Oh my god, yeah, no, he is just straight up Patrick. That's funny.
This is before Patrick.
That's true, yeah.
And now we have, curiously, Jasmine if she was Aladdin.
Yeah.
So, like, that's interesting. I've never watched these in rapid succession. Like, this has been such an interesting exercise. Because, like I said to Austin the other day, it's feeling like just thematically in ways like we're watching a bunch of sequels. Like these all fit together weirdly.
Well, it's like I think I said this in the first one. Like part of why I really like the Dark Age is that when Disney's really on, even though the movies tend to be really good, they do just fall into formula. Whereas the Dark Age is like we don't know what's sticking. Like just throw anything, and like it's more interesting for me in that way.
Austin, did we miss a Dan Schneider super chat from last stream? Because he's
Not that I
asking if
know
one
of.
went through, and he was asking at the beginning of the show if we would answer his question, and I didn't know if he meant through a super chat. Now he's asking about a super chat. I don't know if that was from this stream.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing on this stream. I didn't
Yeah.
notice any on the last one. If there is, just throw it out. I'll keep an eye on
I'll
it.
just say this real quick because it was a super chat toward the beginning of the show that I missed. But Manu2 put in a 20 Mexican pesos and just said, and I'm just reading the super chat. Hail Mary, Lord Miller's sci-fi family movie watch. I don't know what that movie is.
He's talking about Project Hail Mary. It's
It's
coming out
the
this
new Lord
weekend.
Miller
Oh, I see.
film.
I see.
Yeah, I went to the
I might
theater
see it.
today, and it was between that and Ready or Not 2, but I ended up seeing Ready or Not 2.
Yeah, I've not had new movies on my radar lately. It's hard to get to the theater.
Well, that one's people are talking about it too because it's the same writer as The Martian, both the book and it's also Drew
Oh, I
Goddard
heard that.
writing
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's enough interest in some of those movies, because I wanted to see. Sorry, we'll get back to this. Raimi's new movie, and like there's a couple of other things, but some of that stuff, like if people ask enough about, we might do like after they come out on video because they come out so quickly now.
Yeah, definitely.
See, if Timon and Pumbaa were here, they would just eat those bugs.
That'd be great though if Frollo was just like, I eat bugs up here. Care to join me?
The captain goes, "You made your point quite vividly, sir," which is code for it was really on the nose. Like you couldn't have a clearer metaphor if you tried. You smushed bugs in front of me. I get it. How do you really feel about the townspeople?
I mean, that Quasimodo's in his hobbit tunic.
You know, he could really use a ring that turns him invisible.
He could. So, Cap, I should have asked you this up top. Like, do you have any experience with the story outside of this film?
I don't.
Because it sounds like you haven't seen the other movies.
No, I
You
haven't.
read the book. Yeah, this is another one where I haven't read the book, but my dad's read the book, so I'm aware of a lot of the changes and differences. But I have seen the 1920s silent film with Lon Chaney, and I've seen the 1939 version. And the 39 version is what this movie is primarily looking at. Like, so it definitely should be seen more as a remake of that version than like just an adaptation of that book. Because, of course, one thing people have already mentioned in the live chat, like the thing everybody knows, or a big part of the discourse is, well, actually, Esmeralda dies in the book. Like, basically, everybody dies in the book, which is interesting because going all the way back to the silent movie, we let Esmeralda live. Like, that is not a change that we just do in this one. As far as the movies go, most of them do tend to spare her.
That's why
and
I'm
give her
saying I
happy
think a lot of
ending.
people don't know about those movies, and they're just parroting people that said what they said about the book.
And I
Else
believe
we're
that
not going
change.
to murder her in a Disney film.
It's not
course
like
not.
Frankenstein, where for the longest time choices in versions of the movie were more well known than how the book handled things.
Mhm. Well, and even before the silent version, where some of the changes start, is Victor Hugo actually adapted his own work as an opera or as a play. And that
Oh,
I think spares Esmeralda at the end.
interesting.
And
I was gonna
also
say, is that a
changed
case where like the older movies adapt the play? 'Cause you had that a lot. Like that's what Dracula was.
probably, yeah. Probably not as literally because that play, like the Hugo one, wasn't a hit as far
Oh,
as I
okay.
know. But that is like the source of some of those changes. And Frollo, another change people talk about, is a priest in the book, but here is a judge, even though they still lean into the religious ties. I think that change also goes all the way back to that play just because it would be less controversial. And that's something that the other movies stuck with, is not having a priest as your main villain, just to avoid backlash.
So is this basically the first strip show in a Disney film?
That is not true.
Oh, okay.
Is it the Great Mouse Detective? There's
True.
one that does. I think it's that
Well,
one.
true. Well, my mind went to Baloo, where he's dressed as an ape, and like this ape costume slowly falls off while he's singing. But no, very true.
I did remember. Look at that disgusting display, yes, sir.
That's a
That
good
one
line.
stuck out to me.
And as well as dance in this is a big point of contention from people like on both sides. Like there were definitely more conservative leading families who thought, "Oh, this is way too sexual. Like this is not appropriate for children." And then you had people on the other side saying, "Oh, this isn't good female representation. We're just sexualizing her." And in the context of the piece, I think it's fine. I don't think it's gratuitous either way. However you look at it, it's my opinion.
So A, it's what that character would be doing in this context. Uh, however you feel about that, and B, it's contrasting. Her physical beauty with his hideousness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I really like Esmeralda in this movie, and there's a lot more going on with her than just how she looks. Like she certainly has agency in this version, which I like.
This jester gets a lot more screen time than I remember.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, yeah, and he's kind of a riff on a character from the book, but that's like an actual person who does a lot more there and in other versions. Here, he's just
Yeah.
more of an exposition guy.
I will say, because I've never read the book, this does have me wanting to go read it.
Sure.
Okay, so they do this festival every year, and the judge seems like overly surprised by what's happening here.
Well, he's mad that Quasimodo's here because Quasimodo's not supposed to
Well, I know,
go
but he was
outside.
mad about just like Esmeralda and the what you call the strip show. Like it doesn't happen every time. Has that never happened? Like is this the first time?
No.
Like when the jester pretends to transform into her, he's got this look on his face like what? How dare you? And I'm like,
Oh, woman!
I bet this is like Jack Skellington. We do it the exact same way every single year.
Okay, so this is a change that doesn't work for me. I don't get how we get here.
What do you mean? Oh,
Okay,
just that
so
all of a sudden
now
they're
they've all
treating him like
turned on him,
this.
Now he's
which
Hulking
isn't
out.
okay. So the Feast of Fools, like in the book and in the other movies, it's like no, like they're actually having a good time and putting on a show and are having fun with him. And here they just kind of flip on him like on a dime,
Yeah.
and I want the movie to be more about that, if that's the angle you're going with, like the good and bad side of everybody, but that's very complicated and that's hard to communicate in a 90-minute children's movie. Um, I just, everything about this I find rushed since I'm more familiar with the source material. Like, because what happens in the book is this is after the Feast of Fools, and Frollo sends Quasimodo out to kidnap Esmeralda, and that gets Quasimodo arrested, and then Quasimodo is put on public shame display and is whipped and everything. And it's like a really long sequence, and he's like here for hours. So how we handle it here is just, they're having fun, and then they hate him and are torturing it. And like all of this just happens very quickly for me, and I don't think it works.
Okay, but can I say, not knowing anything about the source material, it's rushed
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah, that's my issue with it. But I do like, and this is like the iconic moment is Esmeralda showing him kindness and helping him, and here we turn this into kind of a big rousing speech, and some of this stuff I think is fine.
Yeah, do you think it shouldn't have been handled quite this blatantly, or is it just kind of whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish we. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because like we're 28 minutes in. That's
Yeah.
flown by for me, and it's a really big story we're condensing into such short runtime. So like I get it.
By the way, Austin, she has shown him kindness. We're half an hour in. Your first act plot point.
You know what the difference is, though, Cab? Is this movie hasn't been suicide-inducingly boring so far.
No, I know, and this is a case where he meets the female lead half an hour into your hour and a half movie, and it isn't going to feel totally rushed like Pocahontas was after that.
Mhm. No, it makes sense that they're meeting this late.
Oh, so look, it's the guy that Jafar turns into
I was about to say that,
in
yeah.
Aladdin.
Yeah. And I mean, we're
I just
talking over
Goofy
it.
yelled.
Yeah, they do it again. They do it twice in this movie.
Oh,
They do it in the climax. It's
They do
very
what?
that's
strange.
like their Wilhelm.
The goofy yell.
Oh, the Goofy yell. I thought you were gonna
The
say
character
the
Goofy.
I'm free guy because that's a running gag where he comes back in the third act and it's like I'm free, and then he gets thrown in something again. That keeps happening. I remember that.
Notice that one guard got launched away, and he was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no, I caught that. I just didn't know which thing you were talking about.
But there are lots of like different like kitty sound effects during action sequences, like that like Looney Tunes stuff that doesn't gel with this movie. That in something like Aladdin or Hercules is fine. Again, that's nitpicky stuff, but it sticks out.
Mhm. I mean, I think it's just an element of changing for the source material they're making, but you still got to reel it in a little bit, and they're having a hard time finding exactly what that balance
Yeah, well,
is.
they're really in superficially going like, and to be fair, some of that's also just we're trying to get our Disney hallmarks in there at the same time and not make it feel like it's made by a completely different studio. And so just not quite finding the balance with that because this, even for a Disney movie, like kind of horrific thing just happened to him, and then
Yeah.
immediately you've got goofy comedy stuff, and the old man says "dang it," and I don't know. We switch gears too quick, just kind of on a dime. Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. Esmeralda or Pocahontas thoughts.
Quasimodo.
I mean, if I have to just do the superficial, like based on physical attractiveness thing, I guess for me it's Pocahontas. I guess it's a super chat. I'm just trying to answer the super chat.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Esmeralda because I hate Pocahontas and everything about it.
The big thing I can give Pocahontas though is that at least the only thing I like in that movie is the protagonist. Like I like her fine. I don't like anything
Yeah.
You
much
just like her
else
because she's an X-Man, though.
around her. But like I like her voice. I like her attitude. I like her character model. Like she's fine. I like Pocahontas. I just don't like Pocahontas.
Angel in the live chat asked about Phoebus, and that he's one of the few characters who lives in the book, which is true. But also Phoebus and a couple like the people who do live like suck. Like Phoebus is a good guy in this. He's the hero who will end up with Esmeralda, but he sucks in the book. And he just leaves her. Here we make it like a more traditional love story, whereas in the book he just wants to sleep with her. He's also engaged to somebody else, so like there is no chance of that relationship happening. He just wants to sleep with Esmeralda, which some of the movies keep, some don't. The silent one, like so there's definitely elements from both the 20s silent movie and the 30s one that this is kind of cherry picking from. Mostly the 30s one, but the silent one ends with Esmeralda and Phoebus getting together. So that's something that they carry over from that particular version.
Frollo, I think they could see you doing that. They were watching you leave. Oh no.
No, and this is stuff that like it's not subtle. Like
Not even a little bit. This creeped me out as a kid.
yeah.
Oh.
Good lord. Calm down.
Get this man a
Cool
cold
off.
shower.
You know,
I do
honestly,
like that
the
he's
worst
like,
part.
you gave me unholy thoughts. Like, that was your fault.
Yeah, no, that's right. The worst part for me is the hypocrisy.
Exactly.
That's what I was gonna say.
Not the scheming or the planning.
And that is a major focus of the 30s one, definitely, is Frollo's lust for her and the idea of, if I can't have her, then no one should, and I need her to die to cleanse my own soul. Like, all of that is definitely a heavy focus in the 30s version.
Mhm.
Well, here he's just taking advantage of his station, and he can get away with whatever he wants to do. Like his name kind of plays better now. He's like Frollo, like YOLO, you know. Like Frollo only lives once.
Everybody remember Cap saying YOLO, because that will probably never happen again.
Every time a Captain Logan says YOLO, an angel loses his wings.
This
An
guy
angel kills itself.
this guy is only gonna live once, you know. So he's gotta be sanctimonious and live above everyone while he's horning in on women a third of his own age. He's only gonna live once.
Daniverse was responding to somebody and just said he's more good Gaston, and I thought he was talking about Frollo because we were in that scene.
Because
But
no,
he was talking about Phoebus. But
oh sure.
I thought he meant because he's got that like Gaston thing of like, I'm gonna get that woman's mind. He's a nicer version.
No, this song I think is really underrated. I like the song a lot.
Everyone is apparently shocked that I said that.
I mean, I almost did like a jaw drop when you said it. I couldn't believe it.
I like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you get mad at me when I say fam, but you can say YOLO.
It's literally the only time you'll ever hear me say that.
It's true. So I love the way this song lifts a sequence from the 30s movie. There's a scene in that where Esmeralda is in church praying, and she's praying not for herself, just for her people. And then you get like a montage of all these other people in church praying for themselves. It's like asking for riches, for good looks, to kill Peter Parker, all the classic stuff. You ask for God. So taking that sequence and turning a song out of that, I think, is a really inspired choice.
Yeah, you're right. That contrast is cool. And I also like how this song is simultaneously like a real classic Disney ballad and also a hymn. Like it sounds
Yes.
like a hymn.
This this is the song I would have picked for the end credits, but then the cynical part of my brain goes, they mentioned God too much here.
Yep,
It's not
absolutely.
as secular, so that's why you
It's not
don't pick this
secular
one.
enough. Yeah.
One of the lyrics is, "Aren't we all children of God?"
Yeah, we could have had like Cyndi Lauper singing that.
Also, on the last commentary, you guys mentioned, or Cap, you mentioned thinking that both of the protagonists in that should have had their own "I Want" song, and you
Yeah.
get that here because we got Quasimodo's "I Want" song, and now we just got Esmeralda's. So I think that's cool.
It's really weird that they're actually feeling so far, because I haven't seen this in so long, like the dual protagonist that I wanted from Pocahontas and John Smith.
Mm.
And she doesn't even necessarily have to be with this material. I think the biggest thing Pocahontas is missing is that John Smith had to be the other protagonist for that story to work. Daniver says there was a pop cover of that movie, or of that song, pardon me, by Bette Midler of all people on the soundtrack,
Interesting.
but wasn't put in the credits.
Oh, weird.
Which means it's possible that they thought about having it there and even had it there for a minute, and then for the very cynical reason Robert is saying, took it off. That's entirely possible. Please excuse the crudity of this model.
And I do like Quasimodo's design. I don't think it's like too kiddie or sanitized. Like I think it works for this movie.
I think so too.
I relate to Quasimodo a lot more now in a way I never used to because I'm into miniature painting now. I could not appreciate that before.
You're like, oh, now I do feel bad he got lynched. He also paints miniatures.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you though, Robert. They split the middle really well with Quasimodo, where he's still like sufficiently deformed enough that you buy people being repelled by him, but he can still sort of operate as like a cute Disney character in a weird way. Because like they played him that way in the advertising.
Right, where you gotta like,
where it's like
you gotta strike that exact balance.
Yeah, like the audience needs to find him endearing and, kind of like cuddling in a weird way, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they tried to sell merchandise with this movie. It obviously didn't work.
Yeah.
This had a weird ad campaign.
It's tough to sell. It's one of the reasons that I was shocked that they made it. It's like how do you even sell it? Well, clearly the way to sell it would have been on the architecture. They didn't do that.
They should have made the Notre Dame play set. I would have bought it.
They should have.
No, Cap, they should have sold it like, look at how beautiful this looks, and also this movie's horny as hell. Just have one TV spot just be that sniffing shot, and then Disney's The Hunchback from Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Well, and Austin, this is also making the case that for me that I was kind of making with Pocahontas, which is that didn't even have to be a love story. Like she could have taught him that exact same lesson and it not be a love story.
Mm-hmm. No, you gotta wait for the sequel to get Quasimodo's love interest.
That's true.
Do they do like a female Quasimodo thing in that? I mean,
No.
do
No, I
like
think
a,
it's just a blonde woman. Yeah, she's got
Oh, okay.
short hair.
I thought you were gonna say they do like a deformed like like female character for him to fall in love with.
They're the two hunchbacks that complete each other.
Yeah. the the hunchbacktress of Notre Dame.
As Esmeralda, I almost said Ezra Miller. Esmeralda's like, Ezra Miller's like, oh, you finally found a person like you, Quasimodo, deformed.
Robert, I also think it was a really good choice to have him be so soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is kind of accurate, because in the book, Quasimodo is deaf. Like, just being the bell ringer, it's made him deaf as he's grown up, but he, like, communicates through sign language and stuff. But I'm fine with leaving that out for this. Like, that's whatever.
Sure.
That goat just had a smoker's voice.
But I like the juxtaposition where he's just really gentle. And so he's supposed to, look kind of horrifying, but then he starts talking, you would expect a growl. There's not a growl. He's not even loud.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they got a very strong sense of character for their main characters.
Now, I do think he's maybe a little too well adjusted.
I think that's fair, though. They do show that Frollo is at least, like, actually educating him.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not like Bart's brother that they're just feeding fish heads to.
God, it's so
Not
disturbing.
Hugo.
Oh my god.
Now, we're talking over this and it's been forever. Why is he being educated exactly?
Good question.
Oh,
I think it's
I'm
just
poking the
part
big
of-
holes. Sorry.
But I think it's just part of Frollo's arrogance. It just makes him feel good about what he's doing. Since seeing himself like as a man of God is such a big part of his character.
it's like a self-righteous thing.
Yeah. Like, look, I have these completely fair stipulations. He's just not allowed to leave the tower. But I'm taking care of him. I'm, treating him as a human.
Where's almost bargaining with God.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that in this movie. That's what his whole song is.
Yeah.
It's his "God, I need you to kill Esmeralda, I want" song.
Literally.
Because, like, on the one hand, he kind of believes in the same way that, like, almost everyone from this time period would have. And then on the other end, the whole thing is a front for him to just be hedonistic. But he also... It also might be an entitled thing where, like, he believes himself, like such the righteous man of God that he deserves, like, the hot chick that walks in that he wants.
Yeah.
And he perceives her as a terrible sinner, and so she's beneath him, and so that makes her like almost not a person at that point. Okay, great. Frollo did kill his mom. Teaching him is the least he can do.
Daniverse also said that Mattel did make a Frollo figure. I hope it came with hair sniffing action. That would be a good feature.
He like squeezes his legs together and he deeply inhales.
Like, do you think there's any like deep-seated guilt in that character that informs him at all, or is he really just that like flat out evil?
I mean, he does have a lot of Catholic guilt.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, does he actually though?
Yeah. And I mean, Frollo killing his mom, like that's not from the source material. That's an invention for this. Like in the source material, I think Quasimodo is like just abandoned as a child, and they take him into the cathedral, and he's raised there.
Well, you know why they did that here. They did that because of Bambi.
Disney
When
loves
Disney
killing
just
them.
hates parents, yeah. No, Triton should thank God that he survived that film. And Belle's dad.
My parents must love this movie just because of all the chanting.
I do like chanting. And making his villain I Want song a prayer is such a great choice.
Mhm.
Like
I will
this
say,
song is the
like,
highlight of the movie.
Yeah.
As a kid, I thought this movie was really boring, but I knew at the same time going into this, I would probably like it way more as an adult. And I am. Like, this isn't a Pocahontas thing where I'm like, this still sucks. That's been really good.
I was right about that. Well, that's because there's like layers here, and Pocahontas didn't have that.
No.
This is sort of the antithesis to that because that was so on the nose about everything.
Oh my god, that fire's talking to me, Pocahontas.
And this is one of their most classic melodies. And it's kind of crazy. Like, as late as 96, they had something like this timeless and gothic. And, like, this is gothic material. It's cool that they managed something that sounds this iconic.
That's such great writing. That line of "It's not my fault. God made the devil so much stronger than a man."
Yeah.
Like, this is really heavy stuff.
Yeah, that's so screwed up.
I agree. Hot take.
Mr. Frodo. He's gone.
Get out, you idiot.
He's almost blaming God for his like natural attraction to this woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way he's able to justify his way of looking at this is madness.
Mm-hmm.
Frollo, no, don't burn that. What are you gonna sniff now to remind you of her scent?
And like I also like he knows it's wrong, he's gonna do it anyway. I'm not gonna go like deep down a Star Trek rabbit hole right now, but anybody that knows DS9, he's just Kai Wynn. Like that's the same character. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Frollo debates with himself his position as judge and what he should do battling with his lust for Esmeralda. I like we see his mind and thoughts to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
again, just such a beautiful sequence.
It is. So one angle this movie really leans into that comes from the '30s movie is the persecution of the Romani. Like that's something
Yeah.
that's a lot more of a focus in that than it necessarily is in the book. And the book is just kind of there, but there's not as much of like the equality, justice, fight for freedom, all that stuff. And in the previous movies and in the story, Frollo, out of jealousy, stabs Phoebus, attempting to kill him, and blames it on Esmeralda, and that's when she's arrested.
We got the windmill from Frankenstein here.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Wow.
That's exactly what that is. That's cool. No, in the last one, because we're joking about, Disney takes on real life horrific stories, and I said, the Disney and Frank, we're kind of getting that here
That's
in the
true.
sequence, and they're playing it completely straight.
Well, to some degree, just with this premise, where you got the monster that's not really the monster and all of that. Like they kind of did that, and then Beauty and the Beast has some degree of it.
Oh, and of course we're gonna light it on fire. It just is the Frankenstein
Yeah.
windmill.
I remembered that. Well, I like that this is on fire, and then we're immediately bringing the Hellfire song in.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
You got to do that.
Yeah, and we were playing notes of that too when we were coming into the sky at the
Mhm.
beginning too, as we were descending.
It's so screwed up that he's going around like bribing people or murdering them just to find this woman that he wants to either kill or force to be with him. You could argue maybe that Austin, maybe that was the point somebody was making in the comments because I missed the actual comment. In that way, he is a more evil Gaston.
Oh, they were saying Phoebus was good Gaston.
Okay, but he's actually like
but
scary.
he is evil.
He's scary
No.
Gaston.
Frollo is scary Gaston. Yeah.
I never had that thought.
Yeah, and Cap, earlier you mentioned the Salem witch trials. Like that's something we're definitely homaging hard in this version, especially later.
Can you imagine if we just made that a Disney movie? Like
That'd be
that's their
That'd
next
be wonderful.
historical adaptation is Disney's Salem.
Can you imagine like your main witch is like on like a pyre that's being lit, and her "I Want" song is "I want to not be burned at the stake."
Yeah, and Nicholas Bodo mentioned that in the book, Frollo doesn't really have the ambitions of genocide. That's definitely more unique to this version. In the book, it's just all about Esmeralda.
The perversion of everything he claims to believe is real messed up, and made more so by the fact that they keep singing Kyrie eleison in that song. God, that's screwed up.
And this is where the comic relief doesn't work. There's a hard left turn.
Well, and we haven't seen them in a while, and they've been in one scene. Like, they haven't done anything.
Yeah, I can at least
Good.
say they're in it less than I remember, but like
Oh.
they're not great.
But this is again those pop
But
culture
Austin,
references.
Seinfeld
we're
is
doing stuff.
huge. Sorry, what, Robert?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we're doing the genie shtick, and it's not working. Like we talked about earlier, it just doesn't make sense in this context.
Quasimodo, this is like that classic picture, the boy with the striped pajamas. Remember that picture? It's awful.
No, what's a picture?
I don't know what you mean. I'm gonna go play with my miniatures. Don't talk to me.
All right, so this is the worst song of the movie, and I hate it so much.
Oh no, don't give them a song.
Yeah, they have a song.
Yeah.
Why is George Costanza singing? You can't
Damn,
do this
that's
after
so
Hellfire.
Immediately
I know.
after Hellfire. I
Like,
want
it
this
is
to become a
way too
duet with Hellfire somehow. I want to get those melodies talking to each other.
I do want to burn these
Nicholas-
gargoyles from the world.
Nicholas Bono says this song blows.
It sucks.
Like, I guess it's going to be a motivational song where he's supposed to feel better about himself after this, but I'm sure you could get by without it.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad they're
And-
killing all the gypsies, Quasimodo. We're playing poker.
This doesn't fit.
No.
Okay, great. So it's a short song. Stay calm, everybody. We'll get through this.
Well, this is another place, but in a bad way, where they're going back to Beauty and the Beast real hard. Because this is like getting the Beast ready for his date. That's this song.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a formula to this where we get really dark and then we'll hard cut to Quasimodo with the gargoyles. This is the third time we've done it. Where it's like when we get really dark, we make sure that they're the immediate thing we cut to.
Yeah, like
Oh no!
yeah, no. This Austin, it's comic relief with like relief in all caps.
Yeah.
You know, like we're really worried we're freaking the kids out, and so
Well,
what is this? They think the food is too spicy. They gotta constantly throw glasses of milk at you. Like
And I get it. They're overcompensating.
it's overcompensating. You have to get that levity built in more subtly. And like, I'm not expecting levity in the Hellfire song or the burning down the, you know what I mean? But and we even complained about a place where they tried to insert levity in the middle of something horrible happening. I don't know. Maybe they just need to take the risk to have a movie that didn't have very much comedy in it, or
I would have
where
preferred that.
or where like the levity is more subtle and mostly comes from Quasimodo himself. Like, I'm not saying he needs to be like a super jokey character, but like, I'm spitballing, but he in a weird way could have just been his own comic relief somehow, like in like an endearing, classy way. I don't know what you would have done, but
And I mean, a better example is Ezra Miller. Goddamn, I keep
Second
calling her
time.
Ezra Miller now. It's the second time. How is that happening? Esmeralda. Her goat is also comedic relief, and I don't think that's intrusive.
No, and that's fine. And the goat's from the book. That's actually part of it. Is Frollo's like, look, she's a witch. She has a goat. We gotta kill her
She's got
and
a
the goat.
I've seen the witch. She's a witch.
And what's really screwed up about that in the book is Esmeralda has another love interest who's not really in this version, and he gets to choose to save one of them, and he saves the goat. Like, the people who live suck.
It was a different time, Robert.
okay, I think I've come up with the obvious comic relief character they should have gone with instead of the gargoyles. Okay, what it should have been is the bell.
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
bell should have had a face. It was like a happy face.
This is reminding me too much of Pocahontas' cap. It's the tree.
That's what I was thinking. Like, you should have had like a Zordon bell, where like the bell has a big face and like gives him direction and suggestions, and his Jiminy Cricket.
that could have worked. No, I mean, we talked over it, but like that again, that's in the other versions. Like, he talks to the bells. He's named the bells.
Wait,
and that's
really?
the scene earlier with Ezra. Yeah,
He
and
did
like
talk
they do
about
that
their names
scene.
in this. Yeah.
Okay, then that's right
Yeah.
there. They should have just personified the bells and made it all in his imagination, and you're done.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
like Chris Farley as the bell.
I was completely joking when I suggested that, Robert, and now it's seeming like a totally possible, like, plausible way they could have gone. They've somehow made him 19 times more horrifying than the last time these two were in a scene together.
It's just homeschool. He's giving him a treat.
Dude, I homeschool my kids. That hits me where I live.
You don't walk in with grapes and you're like, it's time for homeschool.
They're nature's candy.
Well, I have been getting ideas from him for homeschool because I did say I was gonna go through the letters and then you get what was eternal damnation.
Yeah, H is for hellfire. S is for sniff.
Oh my god. In Austin's world, E is for Ezra Miller.
Oh no. You know what? They were remaking this when it got canceled. Maybe they would have done it with Ezra Miller.
This
That would have
is
been
his
the
MO.
most
He just blames everybody for all the crap he's doing. He's like, because
Yeah.
of you, the city is burning. Anyway, I'm sorry, what were you saying, Austin?
Gypsies are not capable of real love.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. He doesn't even see her as a person.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, Angel Gaston at him. It's called gaslighting. I know that.
G can both be for gaslighting and gypsy genocide.
What this character is doing is the reason Luther hanged the 95 Theses. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and Victor Hugo's intention with the book was definitely less about like justice for the downtrodden or like equality for all. Like that's there, but like his whole inspiration for making the book was like as a love letter to Notre Dame and where it was standing at that point because it was in very rough shape and we did and like preservation wasn't a thing yet, and that's a big thing he wanted to enact change that actually happened after the success of that book, because like a big thing that mattered to him was how architecture used to be. And I found this interesting, that architecture used to be like our main form of language and our history, and then in his time you had the printing press and like these new technologies, and we were very quickly undervaluing or losing the value of architecture like this, and he wanted to kind of bring attention to that and say, no, like this is important, like we need to preserve this. That's just an interesting thing I find about it historically,
That's
and that it
really
actually
interesting.
worked.
Yeah, that's great. And that just makes me depressed because it's so much more worse now.
Sure. Because when he wrote this book, like this cathedral, like we were coming off of like a lot of years of many wars in France, and like it was not in good shape. Okay, so this stuff is kind of lame, but I guess I respect it for coming up with something that isn't just magic. It's like, look, it's a map of the city, and that's X marks the spot.
It's
Okay.
still better than how the compass was used in Pocahontas. It's got that too.
That infernal film.
She uses her. It's so weird how much, how this is like. Pocahontas is like a dark reflection of this film. It's very strange. Like she uses her mutant powers to find true magnetic north.
It's the Hellfire version.
Well, maybe Pocahontas is secretly a member of the Hellfire Club, Austin.
She was a mutant.
See,
I did joke that she became the Phoenix.
she did. And they find out the stairs don't actually go down that far. It's just like an infinity mirror. There's like 6 steps, and the rest of it's just a mirror. It's just glass.
Oh my god.
See, you can't have a shot this horrific in the same movie with the gargoyle and drag, okay?
He's Bugs Bunnying it. I agree. I don't accept that. That's true, Nicholas Bodo. It's funny that he says it's funny that Hunchback takes its genocidal villain seriously while Pocahontas treats it as a joke.
That's true too. Yeah. Well, they got that one moment with the song at the end where they're finally trying to make him sort of scary and it doesn't work at all. Where you're like, oh, now he's like sinister and menacing.
Yeah, this is another song that doesn't work great for me. Where I think there's some mixed messaging here, where all this movie, like this whole movie, Frollo's talking about how like horrible and evil the gypsies are, and then you get here and that's just kind of how we're portraying them.
I mean, to be fair, they are being genocided.
Yeah, like in context, I get it. I just. And again, we're going like the Court of Miracles is a big part of the book. It's where all like the beggars and thieves hang out, and it's called the Court of Miracles because these people, they're scheming people. You know, they're pretending to be blind and uh, all that stuff. And here we see them hang out and what they're actually like. But this is where we're going pretty off book because it's a different character who finds them and is almost hanged, and yeah, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, this gesture feels sort of on both sides of history here.
Yeah, it's weird.
I like that he's got like a funny hangman's lever though that's colorful.
I do like that. Well, like so, the Jester's kind of a composite character of like a few different people in the book that we're just using him to do different things, which makes sense.
Yeah, so were they gonna hang them just because they were trespassing? Like, is that all that was?
Yeah. Well, they say, "Oh, you're spies. Like, we got to kill you," but you know, they don't give them to trial or anything. It's like
but also
so.
the jester guy and like some more of them probably were. The whole town was there, but like the jester guy was there when the town did what they did to Quasimodo. He really thinks that he's a spy?
No, but Phoebus was like the head cop.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But he should be suspicious immediately just by the fact that Quasimodo's there. I mean, I guess maybe he, maybe the assumption is he like took the cop's side because some reasons. I don't know. Like
It's another scene in the movie that just feels rushed.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it, really.
And Frollo did immediately show up. They could still be spies.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, he might know that Quasimodo like works for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's that. But I was just thinking, like, what would the narrative be? Like, the town humiliates him, and so he goes to the government. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what the narrative in his head would be.
So, like I said, in the book, Esmeralda is framed by Frollo for attempting to kill Phoebus, and that's what she's on. That's what she's going to be hanged for, is everybody else thinks that she's a murderer, an attempted murderer. And here, like you said, Kat, like this is very Salem witch trials coded, where it's like, no, it's just, we think she's a witch, and now we have to burn her at the stake.
And all it's really about is this guy's lust.
Yes.
Now, can I also say, if he is so massively into her that he's got to do mental gymnastics in his own head to justify what he's doing. His initial reaction to her dancing was not the right reaction. They didn't play that right.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's like disgusted
Maybe just because
by
it's like
it.
a public thing.
Yeah, maybe, but
Yeah.
there's not one shot where he's like, where he's got a face like, wow, she's attractive. There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe there's just something lost in or miscommunicated there, but I guess it's more just when you get to the scene in the cathedral where like he's showing his true colors and his actual intentions, but he's good about not showing that publicly or around other people. But
Yeah,
I can
but
see what you're saying.
the problem is the way it's framed because we get these intimate close-ups where I'm not expecting anybody is looking at him but the audience, and that always makes you feel like you're as into that character's head as you can be in this narrative form.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a minor complaint, but it
I think
might
that's fair.
but it might make it feel like it comes kind of out of nowhere when he's not just interested in her, but like will burn the whole city down over it.
You know, him hulking out and breaking out of the chains was cool and all, but we know the gargoyles are real. Just untie him, you asshole.
It's not consistent.
Angel Castaneda, that's where the gargoyle should have left the movie. Yeah, and then if they're just in his head, then at the very end they can show back up to just kind of applaud him for being the hero and for getting over his insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
These townspeople are very easily swayed in any direction.
Yes.
It's a
Which-
monster movie.
Yeah. And again, I like that idea on paper, but if you're gonna do that, I just wish this is what I was saying earlier. I wish the movie was about that more. It's just kind of what happens. Like we don't really talk about, like, because there is kind of, I'd say more so in the original story and the other movies, kind of a Jesus parallel with Quasimodo. Like there's the Feast of Fools where it's like a Palm Sunday. Like everyone's praising him, and then you have him being humiliated in front of everyone, and how everyone's turned on him. So like we're doing something with that in this story.
I missed a couple super chats. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. So since Frollo judges his lust for Esmeralda as a spell, it's just a feeling he's never felt before. Frollo, virgin theory, LOL. Oh yeah, I was pretty positive about that.
100%.
Yeah. He was having a certain type of dream after that.
Yeah, and this is where you see the gargoyles actually fighting people, and it's like they were absolutely alive.
I don't know if that's some of that stuff was in the trailer or what, but for some reason the stupid like him acting like an airplane thing is in my head. Like I remember that. And then he's free again and he's gonna fall down the manhole. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Monsieur.
Dang it.
I mean, you can't just get out of the sewer.
Yeah, another.
But that was like a more blatant, goofy.
Well,
scream.
what's weird about it is
Yes.
it's also placed the same way. So you have the gag with the old man, and 10 seconds later the goofy yell. It's that way in both scenes. That's very strange.
This climax should feel a lot more intense than it does. We're playing way too much of this for laughs.
We need the
Yeah,
Lion King slow-mo.
why are we doing
that
this?
horse thing? Yeah.
No,
And
you're right.
Why are we doing a Wizard of Oz reference?
What's weird is this
Why?
movie is very tonally consistent, except for the 3 places where it's not. It's so odd.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have that problem all the way through.
Mhm.
You could argue Pocahontas kind of does.
But visually, some of the stuff is awesome.
This has such a clear vision that's being compromised by fear. Like that's what we're looking
The
at.
music.
I know, it's killer.
Cap just described the theme of the movie, everybody.
Yeah, but then it becomes a meta thing because the people that made it are succumbing to that.
I don't remember how Frollo dies, but he is climbing to the top of a giant church.
Surely he's gonna drop to his death.
He's gonna drop to his death, surely.
Yeah, I hope he gets hit in the face with a bell first, though.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that happens, but that should happen.
Obviously,
you barely have a nose from that angle.
Yeah, so obviously we know she's gonna be fine, but how insane would it be if this movie actually went there? Because it is kind of lame that we're gonna fake out the audience, because this scene is really heavy.
Yeah.
And I love how the emotion is played here.
But again, it's rough that you had a crappy Wizard of Oz reference not a minute and a half before this.
Yeah.
You know what else is interesting, Austin? I was talking at the beginning of this about how this movie is slightly longer than some of the rest of these. If you take out the gargoyle stuff, it is exactly the length it should be.
That's true. You know what else is interesting? If you added another 2 hours, it would still feel shorter than Pocahontas.
No, I think you're right, Robert. I think they should have taken the risks and let this be too dark. And like parents would have complained and the piece would have been right. In like allowing her to die, in not having the comic relief.
Well, with that, you're taking the danger that people are going to be up in arms, and you'll just not be able to do that again. But we kind of already have that, and it's a middle ground treatment.
Yeah.
Well, and like with the joke I made about this being a remake of Batman Returns, it would have been that whole thing kind of vindicated, where like Batman Returns is a weird, uneven mess, and parents complained. You know what I mean? But like it at least wasn't compromised. That was at least the thing that he wanted to make.
Well, speaking of Batman, this climax is just 89 now.
It is, absolutely, except without a helicopter.
How much do you weigh, Esmeralda? No, the helicopter's coming, Cap.
Okay. Better make it 10.
Yeah.
Oh, the music, Austin.
It's so good.
Beautiful.
You know what? If you had any morality and values, you would force her to marry you or murder her. Okay? That's what you're supposed to do. Not save her, you wretch.
This climax is also riffing on Lion King, where we just had the villain tell the hero, "Oh, I killed your parrot, by the way."
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
I thought you meant the Mufasa thing where you got somebody hanging, except it's not with claws, like dug into your paw.
Well,
there's
in the climax,
no
like,
way
it's the same
Esmeralda's
atmosphere.
noodle arms are lifting Quasimodo's fat ass.
Look at the red eyes.
Plunge them into the fiery pit. Oh, God.
And like, his eyes aren't even glaring off of anything. He just has turned into an evil he's just a demon now.
Yeah. There he goes.
And that part with the gargoyle coming to life works, because it's metaphorical.
For what?
You're You're right. That's just him seeing that. Although his eyes might literally be glowing like that, and it's I mean, you had all this stuff about like hell and the devil earlier, and he might have been communing with the devil without realizing it. So there could have been a supernatural thing happening there. But in this case, it's ambiguous. But the stupid Seinfeld gargoyles are not.
We just need the scene of the cops finding Frollo's body and pulling the laughing box out of his cloak.
Yes.
Maybe Satan, because he like falls into hell,
And then
and
they're
the devil's like, "What?"
and then after this, they're gonna start shining the quasi signal into the sky.
The Hunchback gave us a sign.
He gave us a signal.
They light it up. It's just a big like humpback in the sky.
God, he's hideous.
Oh no, he's hot.
I don't think the second act plot point works out like exactly at the hour mark. Because I forgot to mention that when we got to the hour mark, and I was scrolling back just now to get a sense of that. The burning down the city is probably your second act plot point, and that's like 52-53 minutes. The actual hour mark is the stupid gargoyle song.
Oh.
Oh.
Get off the stage.
Now it's time for nobody's favorite sidekicks, the gargoyles. Lucas Green,
Like
£2 super chat. Quasi
Meanwhile,
Philo
if the
Phoebus
scene,
want Esmeralda loves Square. Not all of Triangle, but he loves Square.
it's true. There's
Shut
less
up.
there. If that scene continued, because we're fading away now, they actually just lynch him again.
Well, and like I said, both of the 20s movie and the 30s movie give Esmeralda a happy ending, but they're a little more bittersweet. Whereas here, like Quasimodo and everyone's happy, so it's a little overblown at the end. But I don't mind all of those changes.
Well, I agree with Austin's on brand point with this stuff. Like
Yeah.
that, the ending is where it's a Disney movie. It probably has to be like that. Let the rest of it be as dark as you're wanting it to go, and then you almost earn that stuff a little better.
Yeah.
You know, because you still let your villain be as horrifying as he was through the entire movie, and then even worse at the end. Like, I don't know. That's definitely the best viewing I've ever had of that.
Oh, cool.
No, that was really good. I liked it a lot.
It's like 95% perfect. Like
Yeah.
you just get rid of the stupid gargoyles.
When I
and-
was thinking about it too, like, thinking about last night with Lion King. Lion King's movie I like a lot, but I don't like the music in it, and I think the main character is miscast. Like, is that so far off from just moments where it's kind of tonally awkward? Like, it's, I don't know.
What do you mean, just like percentage wise of issues?
Like, percentage wise of issues for me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nothing nails atmosphere as well as this does, with the exception of maybe Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Disney, in my opinion, gets to go quite this epic again, and its scale, like, because obviously Hercules is a very different approach and a very different tone.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like, really going for something big. That's really admirable.
And weighty and heavy
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's also really interesting how it nails the feel of a historical period better than the actual historical film they made just before it. That's another way where Pocahontas is oddly a dark reflection of this.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about a lot of the changes and some of the changes that people complain about. It is still an objectively more faithful adaptation of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo than Pocahontas was of real history.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or just Pocahontas of being an adaptation of just being good.
Got him.
Well, because characters resonate in this.
Yeah.
Robert, I'm glad you came in to give us all that background.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, my big takeaway is I want to read the book now.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And I think there are different versions. Like, I think there are like abridged versions, and then the ones that are, and then the one that's actually like 900 pages or whatever. It's a long book.
I forgot Esmeralda was Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
And Frank
which I didn't
Welker
realize
as
until it
a
started.
baby bird. I'm sorry, what?
I just said I didn't know she was in this until it started, and I was like, oh, I think that's Demi Moore. And just as it went along, I figured that's who it was.
Yeah, so like
And now let's.
their big famous voices are also more appropriate and don't stand out too hard. Like, you might have recognized her voice, but she was right for it. Like, I also almost always like Demi Moore and stuff, but...
And now let's watch Hunchback 2.
Well, this would make a great trilogy. This, Hunchback 2, and then The Substance.
See, that's where I was going. That's where I was going. I thought that's what Robert was going to say. Hey, let's watch The Substance.
Quasimodo at the end.
I knew that was coming. And if you hadn't said it, I was going to. Oh my god.
I think we can all be happy that Cap at least was going to make The Substance reference.
I
That's
have
how
a
you
hard
know we
time
live
not
in the
going
best
to it
timeline.
now.
Well, and they mentioned in the live chat that she is dubbed for her song, like they did bring in a singer for that. That's not Demi Moore, but that's also when we used to do these, right? Where if you are gonna have a big celebrity voice who can't sing great, just dub them. It's fine.
Which we don't do now. Now we
nice.
just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make it sound right in post. Which there are cases where I think that works. Like I have that with Bill Murray's Bare Necessities in the Jungle Book remake. I think his just not being a professional singer kind of works for that.
It does.
But then there's lots of other versions that do not, or lots of other songs that do not.
But back in the 90s, if you cast somebody that had a great singing voice and they get sick, you just get Jim Cummings.
That's true. And like Tony J, I don't know if he was like a professional.
No.
Oh my God,
singer.
no,
He's really good.
stop
That like,
it.
actually jump scared me. I didn't know that was coming.
Did they really think those characters would land with people?
Oh,
It didn't even
Cat-
fade in. It just hard cut to it screaming at the camera.
Cap, remember in our Aladdin commentary when we talked about just hearing Genie's voice for a second at the end credits, and you said, it's classy that we're not doing like a straight up after credits scene with him?
They did it with this.
They did it with this.
Good night, everybody.
It looked like repurposed footage where like they had him saying something else at some point in the movie, and then they just threw that in there. It should have just been his voice.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been there at all. In fact, if they had... I mean, this movie is really classy apart from the bad comedy. If they had stuck with the class, and you had anything right after the credits, it'd just be church bells or something like that.
Like, how does this movie open the way it does with that long section where it's just black and it's the choir and the church bells and just the Walt Disney Presents text? Like, how do we start there and then end with that joke after credits scene? Like, these don't compute.
What perfectly encapsulates the tonal weirdness of this movie.
Mhm.
You know what it should have been is just like a Tyler Durden, like one frame of just Frollo burning in hell and be like, ah, on fire.
That's fantastic. And then he's burning in hell, and then he looks at the camera, and we go full Frank Langella, and he goes, "I'll be back."
In Hunchback too.
Okay, if Hunchback 2 was Hunchback Frollo's Revenge, I would be watching it right now.
That's what it should have been. And they should have just gone full tilt supernatural with it. And he's like, they bring him back, he's just Spawn? Yes, all day long. That'd be fantastic. But no, what I said...
Servant of Satan now.
Robert, I kind of said that wrong. When I said like it encapsulates the tonal weirdness, it encapsulates the like misguided approach that Disney took to like putting this together. A lot of it feels 11th Hour, where it's like there's such a clear vision, and it's like at the 11th hour, it's like we got to shove in the gargoyles because it's too dark. It almost watches like they had test screenings,
Sure.
and then they shoved that stuff in. And so it opens with the very clear vision, and it ends with the BS studio note. Like,
Well, that's where time has been a little kind of this movie, and it has been kind of reappraised in some circles. Because when it came out, like the criticism you see across the board is just like you were talking about earlier. Oh, this is just a weird story to adapt for Disney. And like the complaint you saw across the board from both critics and audiences was this is too dark for Disney.
mm-hmm.
And now, decades later, the thing that people actually complain about with this movie is the comedy, is the kiddie stuff.
It's not that it's too dark. It was dark enough, and you undercut that. And I'm telling you, I think it actually earns the happy ending. It helps that Disney's name is on it. Like, if it was another studio, you might call that kind of a cop-out. But, Robert, I never had that thought before, because I don't know the original material. What you said about maybe Esmeralda, like, they should have had at least the guts to let her tragically die then and not come back, like not do the fake out thing, especially because it would be more believable if she's just done there. And then everything else about it is the happy ending, and you could even still kind of have the celebration at the end, and then you have just kind of a somber like cut to a grave or a funeral or something.
Well, like I said, the 20s and 30s movies go for more of a bittersweet ending where Esmeralda is spared, but Quasimodo gets the sad ending in both. Like in the 20s when he's stabbed, and like his final scene is just ringing the bell one last time as he dies, and it's really effective.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, it's like I think what you're saying is like pick one of those.
Pick one of them, yeah.
Because go more bittersweet.
Well, the fact that she ends up not ultimately being his love interest, because they're kind of toying with you when they first meet. They're playing it like they're going to subvert what they usually do. And I meant to say this earlier, where this is a really obviously goes without saying unusual animated Disney movie in that there is a love interest. It's not the protagonist's love interest ultimately. Like, we never do that. And so Quasimodo, by the end, once he's saved the day, becomes expendable in his own movie. And they still let him make it and they let her make it. So like either direction, but they're each of them, you couldn't do both in a Disney thing, but each of them is oddly kind of expendable by the end.
Mm-hmm. And what I like about him not ending up with her is if you did that, then that would kind of muddle the message where, because in both Quasimodo and Frollo each like objectify, or at least they both desire Esmeralda.
Yes.
The difference between them is Quasimodo is willing to let her go and be with who she wants to be with, whereas Frollo's approach is if I can't have her, then no one can.
Because he actually cares about her.
Yeah,
and
sees her as a person.
And that's where it is the Beast Gaston thing.
Yeah. But unlike Beauty and the Beast, here I think it would be a mistake to have Quasimodo and Esmeralda actually get together. So I'm glad that they avoid that.
Yeah, because in a weird way that would have been the obvious the really obvious Disney ending is the hero has to get with her, but also they superficially would have, especially at this time, found it too weird that
Yeah.
the not pretty person gets with the pretty person. And so Austin, they would have had to magically transform him into a character that is actually not as attractive as the character that we had through the rest
No,
of
and
the
then
film.
Esmeralda would be like, "Oh, I don't like this guy now."
That's what
His
would have
his
happened.
eye like comes down into like a normal position.
Invisipig has my favorite comment of the night. Spoilers for 100-year-old movie.
Oh,
When you were talking about how he dies in the 30s movie. Okay, great. The Spawn of Notre Dame. Nicholas Bodo-Furlow's Spawn would be the greatest thing ever. They should have full on done Return of Jafar. but with him, he comes back from hell. That would have been so off the rails. Are there supernatural? Are there like more supernatural things in the crappy direct-to-video sequel, or is it
No
just
idea. I've never watched
the
it.
stupid?
I don't think
Oh.
so.
I just know it's
The-
lighter and Quasimodo gets a love interest.
I'm sure it's awful.
The only thing I know about the sequel is that like one of the teams who worked on one of the animation studios who worked on Batman the Animated Series did it, but it doesn't look very good. So don't get your hopes up. But you can just tell from the clips I've seen, like you can see like that aesthetic.
Well,
Oh, okay.
I'm sure they didn't get the resources or the lead time.
Yeah, which makes sense on paper. Like Batman the Animated Series getting that team to work on a Hunchback thing, like, that makes
Hunchback
sense.
sequel?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gothic. Like, makes perfect sense. The Gargoyles TV show looked a lot like Batman TAS.
I'm just picturing the opening of Batman the Animated Series, but with the instrumental Hellfire. It's like the
Oh, yeah.
Batmobiles driving along.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of. I meant to say this earlier. There's a lot of anime that likes to go to music that sounds a lot like that song.
Sure.
You know, you go back to. I mean, there's some stuff like that in Death Note, Helsing, and Castlevania probably goes to those places. I can't remember what that soundtrack sounds like. That's also barely an anime.
Well,
Kind of
like I said,
isn't
the
really, but like it's that style. But I think we made it anyway.
the music in this that's good is really good.
It's really good.
And I've talked to Austin about this before, but this is one of those like Kat, I said like the Mulan remake you actually had hopes for. It was horrible.
Yeah.
This is one that, like Austin said, currently isn't in development. I think they canceled it, or it's just on the back burner. So there's no like current official word on this getting a remake. And what sucks about that is this is one that like you could improve on. Like you could make a remake of this that is superior to this version, and I don't trust them because they would learn all the wrong lessons as we've seen from the last decade of remakes they made.
Well,
It's
now you're not
frustrating.
making a animated kids movie. Like obviously you're still making some sort of family picture, but it is like a PG-13 live action film. Like you can maybe push it a little bit more to remove
I would love
some
that.
of like the gargoyles and whatnot.
Well, you can push
Some
it.
of the kiddier things.
You can push it farther, and you can do one of the things that got me excited about the Mulan remake naively is that they decided to take the songs out of it and just make it like a big live action epic. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like you take the aesthetic and the costumes and stuff from that movie, and then you just adapt it as a completely different thing. And that's what you would do with this. Except what's weird about this is also anybody could just make a Hunchback adaptation. That's the difference with it is it doesn't need to be an adaptation of this at all. Like there's nothing about the look of this that is like overtly iconic over just what that source material is. At least as far as what you would translate it to in live action, right? Like.
Well, the idea though of Disney doing like a big budget remake of this and then just doing songs like the opening number and Hellfire, like that could be great. But again, I don't trust them.
Sure, but you
No, you
gotta.
get Josh Gad as the Hunchback.
But then you'd have to only do those because you know what would happen. They'll write crappy new songs that are terrible, and they'll leave in
Yep.
the stupid gargoyles, and they'll do them CG. And yeah, anyway, and also,
Yeah.
I that movie performed fine for the time. Like, also, nobody's gonna see that. Like, there's not enough of a draw for that.
Uh,
I mean,
it
they're
was-
running out. They're doing Hercules, and I don't think that was a big hit.
Yeah. If that even happens,
That
it's
even
also
happens,
in
yeah.
development hell.
Now, outside of Disney, I'm just going to throw this out into the universe and hope it manifests. Who I'd actually want to, just taking Disney out of it, just a new big budget movie adaptation of Hunchback. I just give it to Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers.
He'd
Yeah.
be perfect.
That's what I
But
figured. you'd
force
say.
him to cast Josh Gad as the Hunchback, just to see how he does that.
That was a comparison I wanted to make earlier. Like it's a weird analogy, but it's like comparing this to the book to me, it's like looking at the Eggers Nosferatu movie and just looking at it as an adaptation of Dracula. Like it's just incorrect because it's like no, also it's this other movie. Of course, in that case, it helps because it's different. If it's a different title, but that's where my brain went because with this, it's
Right.
like you have a couple of previous movie versions that it's drawing more from than the actual source material. So, like, all that just to say that there are other examples of that I think are interesting.
Yeah, well, like I said, it reminds me of like again like the Dracula thing, where that original movie's not adapting the book; it's adapting a stage play.
Yeah, I just think a bunch of people at the time heard one person say, "Wow, the book was really dark," and then, and then everybody went, "Oh, they Disneyfy everything, don't they?" And I'm like, "That's not the problem. The problem is the gargoyles."
Yes.
When in doubt, it's George Costanza's fault.
Well, I enjoyed watching that with you guys a lot more than I thought I was going to. Because this is not one that grabbed me as a kid and that I ever felt the need to go back to. But I had the same thing Austin did, where, yeah, as an adult, you appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, no, tonight was very much a night and day double feature.
I also think, not to get, of course, like too personal about my own background and stuff, I think the religious stuff for me hit too close to home back then. And like I'm removed from it enough now. And I don't mean like religion specifically, but just like experiences that I went through as a kid related to that. I think this was maybe a hard movie for me to watch. It's like
Sure.
I don't want to psychoanalyze myself, but I never had that thought before. I think this is actually kind of not fun for me back then because of that. And I like, you know, now I appreciate all the religious stuff a lot more, and I'm glad that it's there. That's why I think that hit me harder than you, Robert. Where like you're right. Like it downplays it in its way, but it didn't feel downplayed to me when I was a kid, and so like I'm sensitive to it, and so it really jumps out. Just particularly with what the villain is doing with it, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, and like said, as when I watched this movie as a little kid, I don't remember the first time I watched it, but like as a kid, it's like pieces of it stuck out to me. Pieces of it stuck with me, not the whole. But I liked it well enough, and you know what I didn't remember or latch onto as a kid? The gargoyles. Like I had
Right.
completely forgotten about the gargoyles song. So that's what I find ironic about the approach of trying to kidify it. Is those are the scenes that didn't stick with me. Like for me, it didn't work.
Well, this is like Beauty and
Um,
the Beast with the bad song put back in it.
yeah,
Because there's
call.
that song, and it's not as bad as this, But there's that song that the inanimate object characters sing that was taken out of the movie, and that reminded me of that, where it's like this is the unfortunate director's cut that was put in the theater.
The gargoyle cut. That's what we watched.
Anyway, well, we should get going. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We sure appreciate it. We are now halfway through Disney Renaissance Mania. Robert, are you coming back for any more next week, or are you done? Are you done with this nonsense?
I'll join you guys for Hercules, I think.
Okay,
because I really like that movie.
So you'll be back for the very next one. That's Monday.
Okay, cool.
I do believe. Is there one in between?
So.
I have to go back
Yes.
and look at the list. I'm pretty sure that's Monday.
Yes, yeah, because I just remembered Tarzan's on Wednesday, so it would have to be Monday as
go.
Hercules.
So yeah, we're sitting here at the tail end of the ones I know. It's pretty crazy. I was going to say Hunchback, I think, is the first one of these since like 91 that I didn't see in the theater.
I wanted to ask you this up top. So when we talk about the Disney Renaissance,
Yeah.
and ending at like officially ending at 99, is that just entirely because it's just a decade? Like why 99 is considered the end? Because to me, like indisputably, the end of the Renaissance is Lion King. Because you go from Lion King to Pocahontas, and that's a sharp drop. But that's my personal opinion.
I would have to go back and look. I think some of it has to do with
Who was in charge?
who was involved.
Yeah.
Like how long does Mencken stay in? How long do certain maybe even, I don't know, executives and people stick around? I would have to look into all that to see why it's considered like Tarzan is considered the last one.
When Tarzan would be the last musical for a little bit, no?
I think so. That's
And it's even like not even really a musical.
And it's not even
yeah.
really a musical. And then the next one, in the same vein as would be Brother Bear, but it's also Phil Collins just singing over the movie, so not really.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't really get a return to that till probably like Princess and the Frog and Tangled.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's why I've always thought there are arguments to be made for like a movie or two after that. But it probably has to do with creators more than anything. Okay, Great says Dinosaur was the first 3D Disney film in 2000. I think that's why the Renaissance ends there. I would think, yeah, because like you could just ignore 3D ones, but then the idea of a Renaissance is like it's a period, it's an era, it's all the way through. So like the fact that there are certain ones you'd have to kick out gets weird. So that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I think it's just kind of a coincidence, Robert, that it happens to be the end of the decade. I don't think that's really the reason.
Okay.
Manu, DreamWorks Mania or Disney Sequels Mania, 20 Mexican pesos. We've been talking about both of those things as something to do down the road. And there's been enough interest in this that we will return to Disney at some point, almost certainly. There's about 5 different directions we can go with that. I'm still pushing for the crappy sequels because I've never seen them and I think it could be really funny. And then I think we'll get 3 into that and I'll say never mind and I'll cancel it. I think that's also possible.
Which is why I'm pushing for Dark Age.
The only reason I don't know if I want to do Dark Age right after this, and it wouldn't be right after this, but like as the next Disney thing, is just because I feel a little bit weird if we're going to do that we didn't start with it. It's like, why do we go to the Renaissance in the first place?
We can do Renaissance, Dark Age, Golden. You go backwards.
Yeah, but if we were gonna do the stupid sequels, I'd rather do them next because this would all be more fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna talk about it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you Monday. I was Captain Logan. We had Austin the Day Ghost.
Good night, everybody.
And Robert Wild.
Hello.
Good night, folks. Bye, everybody.